as it states in the report, the Mayor did convene an informal discussion with the Representation Review Working Group and all councillors were present. So thank you, that was most useful. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We take the report as being read, but happy to answer any questions.
There appeared, Councillor Price.
Thank you. I did have a couple of questions asking on behalf of constituents. Back in August, I think it was, we made decisions on the voting system and on the on not having a Māori ward. My understanding is that voters in the community can appeal those decisions. Can you just explain the mechanism for that, please?
Yes, under section 19Z.1, when council resolves if the Ashburton district can be divided into one or more Māori wards, it also actually states that people can demand a poll, or they can actually write in and submit a proposal to actually have a Māori ward. Now, the mechanism for that is just to actually write in to the committee secretary. We haven't received, they must have something like 5% of electors to support that, to formalize the poll. There was a deadline set for that. The legislation states very clearly it must be a minimum of 2 years prior to the election for that to happen. But an elector can demand a poll at any time. So if they were to demand a poll now, it wouldn't impact on the 2019 elections, but it would be the 2022.
Councillor Price.
Just supplementary. I've noticed, and a number of people have drawn this to my attention, that when people go onto the survey, and I understand that this is just a survey, and there's still a round of consultation to come, when they go onto the survey, there is no, two things. First of all, there is no mention anywhere in the information around this that remuneration of councillors is based on population, and therefore shouldn't be a consideration. And the second one is that when they're asked in the survey how many councillors they want, for Ashburton Ward, on the survey form generally, the number goes up to 4. Given that we currently have 7 in the Ashburton Ward and the proposal was to go to 5, I was wondering why the numbers didn't also include the status quo and the proposed numbers.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So in terms of the second part to your question, basically we've given the suggested number and then what we currently have as well. We don't think the question was confusing because when people haven't been able to see the number that they would prefer, they just write the number on a survey form. We've actually only received one paper survey back, and that's what that person has done. There's also a comment box, so if someone wants to, they can include the number in there.
And to address the first point, Madam Mayor, the purpose of those representation reviews is for the community to say whether or not they're adequately represented by the elected members, as opposed to what's considered about cost effectiveness or remuneration. Remuneration is set out under a different piece of legislation and addressed by a different authority. It would be remiss of us as a council to try and combine the two in our communication, because I think that would add more confusion. The Local Government Commission is very clear that we need to keep those issues separated. It has not come up in any of the comments related around remuneration. So I don't think it would be in our best interest as a council to put it out in our communication that they are linked in any way.
Sorry, and just to add to that as well, when we're developing this information, we look at what other councils are putting out there. We also contact people in similar positions at other councils, and no other councils have provided this information on their website, and I think that's mainly because it's misleading.
Brian?
Question. You had 90 surveys coming in the first couple of weeks. How's it going up to now?
Through you, Madam Mayor, so we've had 101 surveys come in as of yet. The Western Ward has been slightly underrepresented. We've had 64% of people support election by wards. 77% support shifting from 12 to 9 councillors. 41% support election only by ward, and 66% support having Methven Community Board.
And through the chair, may I add, when we go out with a proposal, please keep in mind that because we have to present all the options, the status quo will always be an option when we have our proper consultation process.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions? Then I'm happy to move as per the recommendation 6.7.2 that the report be received. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brown has seconded. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Councillors, item 6.8, adoption of revenue and financing policy. It's on page number 51 of your agenda. Goes all the way through to 149. And thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillors, we would like to present the revenue and finance policy, which has been workshopped, consulted on, and reviewed by audit. There will be a very minor modification, and that is to add the word net before the word income in one of the bullet points. I will make sure you will get a copy of that so that you can see it does not change anything fundamental whatsoever in the revenue and finance policy.
Councillor Brown.
Just have a question, and it's on Lakewood. We're bringing Lakewood into the urban community rate. It's what we are proposing to, or propose to do. Now, there's a subdivision down there, Skevington subdivision. Is it included in the Lakewood urban community rate, or is it excluded? It may be a question for Jane Donners.
Sorry, I don't know.
This is the Village Green project.
I know exactly what you mean, but I don't know about rates. You know about
Sorry, I don't know what Skevington is.
Village Green obviously is the name of it.
Councillor Brown, can I ask, will this impact our decision today, or is this something that the staff could get back to us at a later date?
No, it won't impact the decision today.
Through Madam Mayor, I don't think it is included at the moment, but when that development begins, I will be suggesting that in the annual plan next year, the council will review that rating area. Perhaps including it, but it's not included as I understand at the moment.
Councillor Price.
Thank you. My recollection in response to that was the only thing we excluded was the farm. Is the Village Green subdividing the farm?
No, the Village Green is my understanding, outside the aquatic park zone, is the information I've received in the past.
That's my understanding. That's outside the zone, but I will double check that. It's certainly was not in the Lakewood water mass or the Lakewood refuse collection map. They were excluded.
Councillor Brown.
For your finding out for us, it may be that the consent wasn't granted at the time we went out with this finance and revenue policy, so it couldn't be included because it wasn't consented then. I think that may be the answer that you can check.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Regarding Hines on
we're at map number 18. We're talking about the Hines refuse collection boundary. Is that correct, Councillor Wilson? Or 17, the Hines amenity rate boundary.
And also the water supply, so it's maps 17, 18 and 19.
Thank you.
There's an anomaly in it on page 19. You'll see a wee square up towards the top of the map. There used to be a one separate church there, now it's had it, so I don't, that could be taken out. No reason for that. Can we change it at this stage? Yes, it's being sold.
Through the chair, it will still actually have the serviceable connection, so regardless of what's actually on the physical structure or who owns it, it will still be under that serviceable connection, which is what this map shows.
Thank you for the answer. Are there any further questions of staff?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor.
There was one other change that got drawn attention to, which was on page 5 of the revenue financing policy, and investment income, dividends and interest. Then there is a last sentence there that says this allocation may be amended to ensure the UAGC remains within the statutory requirements, such as the Local Trading Act. That was not in the draft that you considered, but because the UAGC is not on the cap, going forward over the next couple of years, we'll need the flexibility to change that allocation to ensure that we stay within the 30%. So all that's doing is giving some flexibility to make sure we can stay at the 30% cap.
Thank you very much. So, councillors, just while you're catching up, it's page number 5 of the Revenue and Finance Policy. It's halfway down the left-hand column. It's the last sentence, last paragraph just before development contributions, which reads, this allocation may be amended to ensure the UAGC remains within the statutory requirements in section 21 of the Local Government Rating Act 2002. Are we all on the same page? Councillor Wilson?
Councillor Wilson, it's page 58 of the actual agenda.
While Councillor Wilson is locating it, Councillor Reveley.
Back on page 52, 683, the bottom paragraph, EA network. I've had conversations with a number of councillors, and the rate for EA network remains at 60-40, your 15% does not change to 60-40. Have you eliminated that? Yes, please. We remain, that's why I disagreed with the first time. Some were saying that we're going to get closer to balancing 50-50, that's not the case.
That was what we consulted on, but we came back here, we reconsidered, and we decided that we were comfortable with the 60-40. So you are absolutely correct, Councillor Reveley. So, Councillor Wilson, did you find that section now? Thank you very much for the heads up on that, Mr. Brake. Is there any other information that's been added since we last considered that? Councillor Wilson.
And the question I have is, Madam Mayor, if we sit at 29.999%, it's quite okay. We wouldn't change it unless we went over 30.
It's quite okay is probably debatable, not only by this table but by the community. And we are, however, within our legislative restrictions if we stay at 29.99. Have I got that correct, Mr. Brake? Correct. Thank you. So with the comments that Ms. Belanti has identified of net income and Mr. Brake has identified with the additional paragraph, I would like to move the recommendation as recorded on page 51 that Council adopts the Revenue and Financing Policy. Councillor Brown.
I'd like to second that recommendation and just thank the staff for the huge amount of work that they have done in getting this policy to where it is today. It was a huge amount of work. There were 472 submissions on it, which is way more than we normally get. I know when we drafted the policy, I chaired the meeting and we knew we were going to get some feedback, and we did. we've got the community engaged. Not everyone was happy with our outcome, but I think we've come to a reasonably good decision here. So huge amount of work's gone into by Mr. Blatty's team, and financing every staff member, or the bulk of the staff members have put input into this. So on behalf of the council, thank you for all that work you've done. It's been huge. So we've got to do where we are today because of this.
You're welcome. Councillor Brown.
I'll send this recommendation.
I'm sorry, I
Oh, sorry.
removed it. And
You want to start?
yes, and
Missed
Councillor
your-
Brown
missed your
seconded.
part.
So it's okay. The matter is now open for debate. There being no debate, I would just like to say I agree with the wonderful sentiments that Councillor Brown has put forward. Thank you very much to the staff, and interestingly, I recall last long-term plan, Councillor Ellis put forward the suggestion of let's put something contentious in there to get the community to engage, and Councillor Brown seems to have echoed those sentiments this time. I hope that's not all it ever takes to get people to engage in our long-term plan, but I do appreciate that they have engaged in this case. So it's with great pleasure I put forward the recommendation. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Councillors, that brings us to item 6.9.